Well, now Africa 54's Laurel Bowman joins us with more on a new film detailing the hijacking of a U.S. flagged ship by Somali pirates. Hi, Laurel.
Hello, Demi. The Hollywood movie Captain Phillips is still hot in American theaters. The film chronicles the real story of Somali pirates taking an American ship captain hostage. Tom Hanks and Somali newcomer Barkhad Abdi star in the film. Abdi says he was driving a limo in Minneapolis when he heard about the casting call. He showed up, saw some of his friends, they began rehearsing together, and were ultimately cast. Here's a clip from the film.
This is Mask, Alabama. We are an unarmed freighter. We have a potential piracy situation.
Copy, Alabama. You should alert your crew. Get your fire hoses ready. Chances are it's just fishermen.
They're not here to fish. Listen up. We have been boarded by armed pirates. Stay hidden at all costs. No one any hostages. Stick together. It will be all right.
Where is the crew?
I don't know.
You think we're playing? You think we're playing?
If you're gonna shoot somebody, shoot me!
Look at me.
Sure.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Incidentally, the Somali actor ad-libbed that now famous line, "I'm the captain now." The film is a snapshot in time, though. Piracy has greatly decreased off the Somali coast, but piracy off the West African coast is on the rise, with 2 Americans taken hostage there recently. How do you compare East African piracy to West African piracy? It's like apples and oranges, says Michael Frodl of C-level Maritime Risks. His group provides open-sourced intelligence to the shipping community. We sat down with him for a chat. This new movie in theaters, Captain Phillips, people are interested in piracy in Africa. Talk a little bit about piracy in East Africa versus piracy in West Africa.
East Africa is this thing where you have people being kidnapped hundreds of miles from Africa, even closer to India than to Africa. In West Africa, the piracy is against ships that are not going past Nigeria, like in Somalia. It's with ships that are operating to and from or around Nigeria in the oil industry principally.
I read somewhere that some of the criminals just take the oil and resell it in the black market, and then these lower-end criminals might come in and just start kidnapping because they want a piece of the action.
There's a sort of a two-speed level of piracy. There's the connected type where you troll the coast, go lurking off of Benin, Togo, or even Ivory Coast, and you hijack a tanker, and then you steam back in a few days to another tanker that you've rented, conveniently waiting for you in the waters off of Nigeria. And you engage in extremely technically complex transfer of oil or gasoline, diesel, whatever petroleum products to the waiting tanker. It's called siphoning. And then you let go of the ship. As that has been happening, then you get the guys who are saying, well, wait a minute, there's a lot of money to be made out that way, and we were making money from kidnapping people on land, and now the pressure's been put on us, so we've gone a little offshore, but now let's start, let's go for some bigger fish.
A couple Americans just taken. Where are they? Why were they taken? Who took them? And how might we get them back?
Lots of tough questions. We're in the process of digging into that for clients. By now, the hostages, since it's operated close to shore, are in the Niger Delta somewhere, a very complex environment with nooks and crannies and all sorts of waterways that it would take forever to search, but the Nigerian Navy is going to do it. The 2 communiques we have found that have come from the region have come from something called the Movement for the Emancipation of the Niger Delta, and both communiques read together seem to indicate that they were behind the taking and that there are going to be political demands. There's also a protest element in this move in the sense that it's protesting that the United States military was involved in some sort of joint exercise with other regional navies, and it seems to be that the MEND is saying it has sovereignty of the Niger Delta and it didn't want the United States to be there, and that opens up a can of worms.
Now, how does this make a negotiation for the hostages return
more complex?
The owner obviously can't make any promises about what the U.S. Navy is going to do. I mean, he basically can just say, I can hire some locals and I can pay some money, but he can't speak for the U.S. government. The U.S. government itself really shouldn't be in a situation where it's negotiating with a group that is, although it's not officially on the State Department list of terrorist organizations, has had a history of using terrorism to pursue its independence goals. And I think there'd also be an objection from the Nigerian government of having the United States talking to a group that it considers criminal so as to get our nationals back. So it's a tricky situation.
A U.S. shipping company is reportedly negotiating for the release of the 2 American mariners kidnapped October 23rd. Demi, back to you.
Well, thank you, Laurel. Very, very interesting. Well, we want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories that we cover. Join the conversation on our Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com.